Houston Astros baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by HEB. No store does more than my HEB. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Colin McHugh's Magic Act comes back to Houston after a Houdini-like performance in Seattle. Can he make Angels bats disappear? Julia breaks it down when we come back.
Getting you set for this matchup between the Astros and the Angels. Colin McHugh facing these Angels for the third time this season. Got no decisions in those back-to-back starts against this team back in June. So he's looking for his first win. Keys for him tonight, controlling the walks, but also no drama in the first inning. He has a over 6 ERA in that first frame. So tonight that's going to be key for him. And that's what troubled him in that last start against Seattle. However, he ended up throwing 6 scoreless. We're taking a look at it now. This was just a few days ago. Colin McHugh against the Mariners, and he loaded the bases with 1 out. He hit Cruz there to load the bases, and then struck out Kyle Seager. He got Dae-Ho Lee to ground out, and he did the same exact thing again in the third inning. Found himself in more trouble, but found a way out of it. So he's escaping his jams now. He's gathering himself when things get a little bit shaky. So that is an improvement for Colin McHugh. And I'm going to toss it up to Alan Ashby, who coined him Nick Houdini in that last start for his ability to get out of some of the traffic that he was in. But the impressive part, Ash, I think, was just him being able to work through it now as opposed to maybe earlier in the season.
Yeah, without a question, Julia. And you're right when you talk about first innings. Those have been kind of the woe innings for Colin. But again, McHugh was able to battle through 10 strikeouts in that last outing against Seattle. Really good, allowed only 4 hits and no runs over 6 innings. How the Astros would love to see that again tonight. By the way, really important for Colin McHugh. He's won 2 straight team games. Now, he doesn't have these showing up in his record. 5 out of 6 for the club, and 8 of the last 10 Colin McHugh starts have resulted in wins for the Astros.
And as he goes out against the Angels tonight with that 6-6 record of 4.25 ERA, he will face this starting lineup from Mike Scioscia. It's third baseman Yunel Escobar, right fielder Cole Calhoun, center fielder Mike Trout, DH Albert Pujols, shortstop Andrelton Simmons, first baseman Ji-Man Choi, second baseman Johnny Giovatella, catcher Carlos Perez, who just rejoined the club from the minors for this game, and left fielder Todd Cunningham. And Jared Weaver will be their starter. He's 8-7. Night game. It's been a sizzling day here in Houston And now with the air conditioning pumping, that's a good thing because it's been pretty brutal outside the last few days in Houston, Texas. Colin McHugh in this ballpark is 3-3 with a 4.32 ERA. Yunel Escobar with a 3.16 batting average, the 5th best in the American League, has 3 homers, 30 runs batted in for Escobar. Escobar led off last night's game with a single, and he went 1 for 4, taking ball 1 there. The Angels, with a 43-53 record, open the night 11.5 games behind the front-running Texas Rangers. In for a strike. Hunter Wendelstedt is the home plate umpire. It's 1-1 with Evan Gattis doing the catching tonight. He was not in the original starting lineup to catch.
And a quick peek at our MD Anderson strike zone. As you saw, Gattis set up in, reached across, but still got the strike.
A liner over Carlos Correa for a hit for Escobar. And Escobar continues to reach base at a good clip with a 363 on base average.
Maybe a good sign. That's the way he led off last night's game with a base hit. So we'll see if Colin is able to duplicate a strong outing on the mound. Right on the hands.
Not a bad pitch at all.
Carlos Correa gets up. Might have gotten the rebound, but not this baseball.
Cole Calhoun is next. 285 is his average, 10 homers, 49 runs batted in, and he's hit 308 against McHugh. Infield shift is on. That's in for strike 1. In the last 6 starts, Colin has been much more effective against left-handed hitters, holding them to a 241 batting average in those 6 games, with only a 278 slugging percentage. Calhoun was on base 3 times last night with a single and 2 walks. He scored the 9th inning run as the Angels lost to the Astros 2-1. In for strike 2 with Mike Trout on deck. The Astros have beaten the Angels 9 times in a row after losing the first game in the season series. Houston has won all 4 games from the Angels in this ballpark this season. Close one is ball 1. The Angels, after sweeping a 6-game homestand, losing by 1 last night.
Bring the 0-2. That's what you want to do. Close off the edge. Put a little heat on the umpire as well as the hitter.
Check swing. Takes the count to 2-2 on Calhoun.
Steady diet of away. And Cole Calhoun is a guy, yeah, he has power to right field, but he can also sting it to left field. The Astros have seen a lot of that the last couple of years.
Calhoun was not drafted after high school. He went to Arizona State. Then he was an 8th round pick in 2010. 28 years old from Buckeye, Arizona. He's an important part of their offense. Gives them some pop in that number 2 spot in the lineup. Now it's a full count to Cole Calhoun.
Colin can have these times where pitches get away on his arm side. Don't want to put men on base with that guy coming up.
Colin's 4-2 in his career against the Halos with a 2.84 ERA for 9 starts. Runner goes, and that's crank foul.
That baseball got to those fans in the seats very quickly. Tries to find the outside corner, but he instead finds the inside edge. And those folks found out why it's called hardball rather quickly.
That was on them quickly. You're right. The Angels are 8th in runs scored in the American League. Runner going again. It's strike 3 call. Gattis' throw to Correa. Double play.
Evan Gattis has been quite good in this regard, throwing out would-be base thieves, and he put another right on the money here for Carlos Correa. Easy to call that strike 3, and then it's easy on the other end. Look at that, by 8-10 feet.
He's now thrown out 8 of 18.
That's a very good figure around the major leagues.
And lately, as you saw, an even better rate. There's a foul ball by Mike Trout. Trout with a .317 average has 19 homers, 62 runs batted in. He had a rough night last night, 0 for 3 with a walk, 3 strikeouts. He hadn't struck out 3 times in a game in more than a year. Fouled away, 0-2. He said after the game he just could not pick up the curveballs of Lance McCullers last night.
Yeah, welcome to Lance McCullers' world. That's the way it has been for big league hitters.
Trout looks at it. It's 1-2. Trout has 2 career homers off McHugh with 6 hits in 17 at bats. In the dirt, and it's 2-2. Trout is atop the leaderboard. The highest batting average when behind in the count, now working his way back to even. He's at .343 behind in the count this year. And Albert Pujols is on deck or tied for the club home run lead, and it's a strikeout for Colin McHugh. That's some good movement at 86. It's no runs, 1 hit, nobody left. No score for the Angels. The Astros up against Weaver in a moment. Jared Weaver with AJ Hinch's starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. George Springer's the leadoff man and right fielder. It's Marwin Gonzalez at first base. Jose Altuve playing second, leads the majors in batting average at .358. Carlos Correa is the shortstop, and Luis Valbuena at third base. Preston Tucker the DH. Carlos Gomez in center field. Evan Gattis the catcher, and Jake Marisnick in left field.
And it's the veteran Jared Weaver on the hill, 33 years of age, 8-7 with a .502 ERA. And pretty remarkable, the .502 ERA says he's been getting hit pretty considerably, and yet he wins. The guy goes out there, he has an unusual crossfire delivery. Mid-80s is about as good as it's going to get with the fastball, and yet he finds a way with guile to beat hitters.
He goes to work on George Springer, throwing ball 1. George, a .256 hitter, has 21 homers, 56 runs batted in. He's on a 4-game hitting streak, already with career highs in 2 of those departments. And he has walked 50 times. That's 7th in the American League. It's a 2-0 count for George. He is 8 for 18 lifetime with 2 homers off Jared Weaver. Weaver throws, and it's ball 3 to Springer. Jared's 33 years old. In Northridge, California. He went to Long Beach State. He was an all-star in 2010 and 11. And there's a 4-pitch walk to Springer.
Yeah, like is typical for Weaver. The velocity at best about mid-80s. To start the night out, command not there. He'll find the command.
Marwin Gonzalez on a 7-game hitting streak. Checks in at 254 with 8 homers, 26 runs batted in. Marwin was 1 for 4 last night. Weaver is second on the all-time win list for the Angels with 146. That's strike 1. He passed Nolan Ryan to move into second place on that list. Chuck Finley is the Angels' all-time leader with 165. Month of July has been terrific for Jared Weaver in his career. He's 20-2 in July since 2011 with a 2.25 ERA in that month the last few years. Last time out, he beat the White Sox with 7 good innings, giving up 1 earned run, winning it 8-1. Strike to Marwin, and it's 0-2 for Weaver. You talked about how he's existed with his stuff not being the stuff that he once had after being a first-round pick in 04, the 12th player drafted. And he's mid-80s guy now, as you indicated, Ash, but he copes with it pretty well.
And as you say, a little earlier in the career, 9 consecutive years winning at least 11 in those seasons.
Marwin fouls it. Here's what he's done against the Astros. This year, not good at all, but for his career, much better earlier. It's turned on him lately.
And that ERA this year near the 8 mark. The Astros hitting nearly 330. And you'd love to see those numbers continue.
It all adds up to 5-5 with a 3.77 lifetime against Houston and 11 starts. He's given up 12 homers in those 11 starts against the Astros. Marwin takes. There's a snap throw to first. Springer diving back. The hit of that throw from Perez. 1-2.
Angels have a couple of guys behind the plate that could throw well. And in the case of Perez, very aggressive. Taking a look at the Super Mo presented by Mattress Firm. That great shot of Springer getting back in.
Perez was in the minors, just promoted before this game. After being here quite a bit earlier this season, so the Angels continue to have something of a revolving door at catcher for now. Jet Bandy was the starter last night. And the throw goes over. Springer diving back. The Astros lead the league in steals with 75. And they've tried to steal 102 times. Springer's 6 for 12. Well, the reports have been buzzing around the Chicago White Sox the last few hours, and Chris Sale. Marwin shoots one high. Here's Trout way back into right center field on the warning track. It's a long out, number 1. Trade rumors in the majors. Chris Sale, is he going anywhere? Well, he's involved in a clubhouse incident. Instead of pitching tonight, he is sent home, according to reports, because we're hearing that he was unhappy in this clubhouse before the game, and the Angels decided rather than pitching him, they would tell him to go home and take the night off, or the White Sox rather.
We've heard many times guys that are involved in trade rumors not pitching on a night where it looks like a deal might come through. They don't want to run him out there when the other club is trying to complete the deal. But that's not what this one sounds like. It sounds like a player disappointed in the clubhouse.
Yeah. 358 for Jose Altuve to lead the majors, and also with the on-base average of 427, he leads the major leagues. Jose was 2 for 4 last night. There's strike one. He's on a current 7-game hitting streak and has 135 hits. Against the Angels, he's hit .500. He's 20 for 40. 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. Springer draws more attention.
Brownie Jerry Krasnick reports that the sale incident was with front office personnel, not with teammates.
Okay. We'll undoubtedly get more reports as the night unfolds. Springer takes off. Here's a throw from Perez. It's right on the money to get him. 2 outs. Pitch was ball 1, and Springer's gunned down.
We said Perez likes to throw, and he threw perfectly here. Excellent exchange. Springer didn't have a bad jump either. We know he can run, but nailed rather handily.
Giovatello with the tag. Caught stealing 2 to 4. Springer does not take a big lead. Inside. Yeah, he didn't have a bad jump. You're right.
And you watch what Perez does. Just feet quickly in position. That exchange from glove to right hand perfect, and we saw the result.
After watching George, and he's been a base stealer all throughout his minor league career and up until this year in the major leagues. Just after watching him much of this season, Ash, and we saw it there, he had a good jump. I don't think he gets big enough leads.
It depends. Is George going to continue to be that guy that steals bases? The numbers are down.
3 and 2 now. 6 for 13 this season. That's a red flag. It may be time to shut it down. And there have been times when he hasn't been going. Altuve's hit .394 against Weaver. Rolled out to short. Simmons. And in the first for Weaver, he faces 3 men, and it's 0-0. Brought to you by T-Mobile, showing you the AL West through June 20th. The Rangers had a 9.5 game lead over Seattle, 11 games over Houston. Since then, what a turnaround, as the Astros have gone 17-8, and they are now 2.5 behind Texas, which has gone 9-17. They've made up 8.5 games in the standings since June 20th.
It's actually an interesting date for the Astros. I believe that was win 3 of 7 consecutive on their season-long winning streak, and yet they weren't making up any ground on those Texas Rangers.
It's true. They strike 1 to Albert Pujols with a .252 average, 19 homers, 72 runs batted in. He's hit well against Colin McHugh. 0 for 4 last night. 1-1. Colin has a .647 winning percentage at Minute Maid Park. Curveball 1-2.
Wicked curveball. Lance McCullers picks up the strikeouts on that pitch. Has great confidence in it. Not to the same extreme for Colin McHugh, but pitch he loves.
Out to left center, and there's Jake Marisnick with the catch up against the wall. Well, he snagged it right in that recessed area by the bullpen for out number 1.
Well, he's classically a center fielder and a very good one, but you can put him anywhere out there, just like Springer, just like Rasmus, and the job's going to get done and in spectacular fashion.
That was quite an adjustment. Reaching back up over his head.
Wall jumped up and grabbed him too.
Andrelton Simmons looks at ball 1. Watch this.
He actually got a little too far towards center, had to reach back, and again that wall gets a piece of him.
Stayed with it very nicely. Simmons was 2 for 4 and drove in a run last night. Line drive, and Gomez is over into right center trying to get to it, and he does, but will not be able to throw him out at second. He throws toward third base actually, and it's a double by Simmons. 15th double of the year, and a very improved hitter since we saw him early in the season. Ash,
dead on. Andrelton Simmons looked like that shortstop that can really play with the glove but couldn't hit a lick, and now he's swinging it very well. Not sure what happened with Carlos Gomez and the throw, but it did prevent a move toward third base.
He uncorked one. Ji-Man Choi is the batter. Switch hitting first baseman with a grounder to Correa. 2 outs, Simmons to third. And it's Johnny Giavotella next. Giavotella has played a lot of second base for this club last couple of years. Did not play in last night's game. Has a new career high for homers in a season with 6. Gregorio Petit was the second baseman in last night's game. Yeah, that's a weird story on Chris Sale. .262 for Giavotella, 6 homers, 27 runs batted in. There is rampant speculation about Sale being a target of teams like the Texas Rangers in a trade.
And why not? He's a great talent.
He really is.
I don't know if Sale, it's impossible really to read it, but if Sale's upset that his name is even being bantied about, or that a deal hasn't been completed.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably take the guess on one side or the other there.
He may want out of Chicago.
It's possible.
Had a blow up in spring training. The White Sox brass. 1 ball, 1 strike. That was over the Adam LaRoche story with Adam's son being in the clubhouse every day, and Adam decided to walk away from a $13 million contract because he felt that the promises that had been made to him when he signed as a free agent had been broken by the White Sox. And Sale was quite vocal, according to reports in some of those clubhouse meetings. Fouled away. Let's see if we can find out more. Well, here's what he's doing this year. He's one of the very best around, and he's not making premium money for being a #1 starter and one of the best in the game.
Which makes him extremely attractive to another ball club. No question about it. Play general manager of the White Sox if you're thinking, okay, well, just go out and make this deal. You're going to ask for the world and try to get every bit of it you can get.
Chop slowly. Barehanded Valbuena with the play to get him. No runs a hit, a runner stranded at third. And Valbuena, who made a beauty near the line last night, reached out and snagged that one. Turned it into out number 3.
Chevy Stroll poll. Make sure you get over to the Root Sports Twitter page and vote in our poll. All right, think back to some legendary Astros here. Who is the best Astros third baseman of all time? Is it the Red Rooster, Doug Rader, Morgan Ensberg, Ken Caminiti, who I have a feeling is going to take a lot of votes today, and Art Howe, our own Artie? I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys.
Absolutely. Here's Carlos Correa batting. And there's ball one. Correa starts the night at 263 with 14 homers, 62 runs batted in. Carlos has terrific numbers against the Angels this year with 18 runs batted in the 10 games between the two clubs. He was 0 for 4 last night. There's that slow curve, and Weaver can really neutralize some hitters with that pitch. It's 1-1. What do you think? Third baseman, Astros?
You know, that gets a little tough for me. I will acknowledge, because it's a little too close, too personal for me. I knew the guys. It's really easy when you don't know different guys.
Yeah.
You can just kind of look at the numbers. I played with Doug Rader, Ken Caminiti, Morgan Ensberg, a part of this team for both of us. And yeah, who's the fourth name? All of a sudden it's eluding me.
Well, we had Luis Valbuena up there, I believe.
Is that right? Well, you know, Ken Caminiti is a former MVP, not with the Astros.
I was looking at a different list. We had Art Howe on that list.
Art Howe, there you go.
Yeah.
And what a great third baseman.
Into right field for a single. We have Valbuena on a different list, which we'll show you later. Julia?
Well, speaking of Valbuena, who made that great barehanded play at the end of the inning, he comes off the field, and George Springer is not far behind him, yelling at him, "You have a glove. Use your glove." This is exactly
amen.
what was being said right here.
Amen to that. Honestly, as a manager, look, that play could have been made just the same with the glove, and it would have been much more sure. But beautiful play when it gets made.
Valbuena with a .254 average has 12 homers, 39 runs batted in. And there's ball one high. Well, that's interesting that George Springer would make that comment, and that's a good leadership type comment that one player makes to another. Ash.
Agreed. And yeah, I think it's worth immediate conversation in the dugout.
He fouled it. I talked to Luis before the game tonight, and there's George. And there you see the highest career OPS. This is the list that I thought we were talking about, but in OPS he is third among Astros third basemen who have played at least 175 games.
Morgan Ensberg really put up some big years.
In tight. Valbuena, as you know, got out of the gate very slowly. Didn't hit a home run in April, and since then he's gotten so much better. And he just said that he felt that he was chasing a lot of bad pitches early in the season. He's refined his strike zone. Kind of the same story as the Jose Altuve story.
Well, he may have chased some bad pitches. I watched him swing right through pitches, right through the heart of the plate too, and that happens when you're struggling. And that's not an indictment. It's just reality of the game. And I think a lot of times, you know, I've said many times, I caught a pitcher on a given night, and he'd come back in the clubhouse after things were all over, a great effort on his part, and he'd say, you know, I only made one mistake tonight. When in reality, there were about 8 or 10 pitches right down the middle that hitters fouled off or took. And so it's kind of the nature of this game.
237 in July after a 316 June. He's walked 43 times. That's a part of the picture for Valbuena. And he said he's not all that pleased with his bunting this year with all the shifts, trying to keep them honest, but he does occasionally try to bunt or show bunt. But he just is very happy with this club, loves his teammates, and so he's been allowed to settle in, and with the increased playing time, he's been able to come around this year. He's in his walk year, as they say, potential free agent at the end of the season, and just enjoying it as much as he can while he is here. He knows what the future will bring.
He is not relying on the walk either, and he is relying on that great power he possesses. You know, you watch him take batting practice. He's got a tremendous ability to go the other way with line drives, but because of that power, he tries to utilize that, and he's done so very well.
All 12 of his homers have come since May 7th, 10 against right-handed pitching. Up for ball 3, and it's a full count. Weaver has walked just 29 this year in 109 innings. Did you like the fedoras last night?
Apparently not enough to take one home with me. I forgot my fedora. Somebody's going to have to fess up on that one.
Well, yeah. Maybe me. I don't know.
I guess Carl is wearing interchangeable fedoras now.
Correa drawing some attention, has 10 steals and 13 tries. Weaver, even though he's given up 125 hits this year, has kept the walks very manageable. And there's
the look. You took that home last night, didn't you?
Yes. Correa goes. There's a fly ball at the right field line, headed for the foul pole, but it is foul. And still 3-2. Valbuena broke the bat on that one.
Well, I hope Diane was impressed with your look when you got home.
She certainly was, Ash. It's the hat band that really made it.
It's a little bit of a delayed look, too, as we were unable to get home via 290.
Yes, it is a construction weekend in Houston, Texas. Realize that does not happen very often, but people will have to adjust. Actually, right-handed hitters have hit 19 points higher against Weaver this season. Correa takes off. And that one's in the air, and there's a fly ball to shallow center field, bringing in Trout. One out. Last 5 starts, Weaver's batting average against has been only .239. He too, like Colin McHugh, has kept the left-handed hitting batting average down against him. .214 his last 5 starts. Yes, they've welcomed back Preston Tucker, and he made a splash last night as he tripled and scored in the 5th inning, going 1 for 3 as the DH. He gets the call again tonight. 182. 3 homers, 5 runs batted in. 301 at AAA Fresno. He takes ball 1. Tucker's 0 for 3 against Weaver.
I'm curious, Brownie, to hear your comments about the third base question.
Well, of course, Caminetti was a real favorite. A lot of us. I thought Ensberg was terrific with the power that he brought to the team. Missed out on the Raider era, but remember seeing him from a different city. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That was probably the safest vantage point.
Yeah. But yeah, he was very, very good. Solid. So I don't know that there's an easy choice there.
I think it's a really tough one.
I would tend to think Caminetti, because he later went on with San Diego to become a league MVP. But that, of course, we're not talking about that phase of his career. We're talking about the Houston Astros phase of his career. And he was very good here.
I had the privilege of playing with Art Howe, and I know what he meant to a ball club. The numbers were not the same as Ensberg and Caminetti put up, but tremendous ball player nonetheless. Went on to be a great manager, and so yeah, that's quite a list of names as third baseman for the Astros.
It really is. And Art, of course, hit one of the biggest home runs in the history of this franchise in that 1-game playoff with the Dodgers. Foul right back underneath us, Ash. You almost had a shot at it, and it's 2-2.
Harry Carroll was sitting here very calmly waiting for that baseball that landed just below the wall in front.
Let's see. All right, how is Blummer not on the poll of best third baseman?
Yeah, well, you know, and that could be a valid question. I don't imagine he played quite as many games, but a great third baseman, a great infielder.
And a terrific partner.
Yes.
Out straight back.
I don't know if that qualification will get you as the #1 third baseman, but all part of it, I guess.
And that next road trip, you and Blummer, Julia, head for Detroit.
We're on to take on Brad Ausmus and company.
Wow. Glad all three of you are going.
It's going to take 3 to get Brad.
It'll take 3. Carlos Gomez on deck. And Tucker works the count full. You know, I read his comments in the newspaper about going to Fresno and working on his strike zone, which I think had gotten a little out of whack for Preston. He has so many hitters too. Seemed to be expanding his strike zone when he was here. And quite often you get into a rut, you get yourself deeper in that rut. Try to hit your way out of it. Runner going. Pitch is high for ball 4. The throw went down, but there won't be any out there, and it's runners at first and second with 1 out for Carlos Gomez.
I think Carlos Correa had peeked in and knew what the scenario was, or at least believed he knew. And as he slowed down going into second base, he took a glance back for that confirmation. There's the peak.
Yep.
And he knows, or at least again he thinks he knows, that last look is, wait a minute.
Simmons playing some games with him. Now it's Gomez. Abbas Pramati, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Another outstanding third baseman. Foul ball, there's strike 1. So we have a lot of choices. Gomez with 5 homers, 27 runs batted in. Is it 211, 348 against the Angels. Last night he had a bunt single, stole a base, scored a run. He was hit by a pitch. Bob was the first third baseman for the 45s back in '62. No balls, 2 strikes. So we thank all of you, not Sec Guy, for Bob Aspromonte was a favorite of so many people here.
Isn't that the Marlboro Man there?
It looks like the Marlboro Man, yes. I haven't seen him in a long time. Weaver slipped as he threw that pitch, and it's 1-2. Back to this Chris Sale story, though. I wonder if by his apparent reported contentiousness in the White Sox clubhouse, apparently with the front office, he is now forcing a trade. You know, we were talking about this before we went on the air tonight. Boy, if you were the White Sox general manager, Rick Hahn, it's difficult to trade Chris Sale.
I think it's well, it's probably an enviable position to be in if you're talking about other GMs, because again, you can ask for the world. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, but somebody might offer you a really nice island somewhere.
Curveball and a strikeout. That's number 1 of the night for Weaver. And Evan Gattis comes up. It's Evan Gattis Gnome night. Have you seen the Gnome?
Yeah, I've seen the Gnome. I actually haven't seen it up close and personal. I've seen versions, I think, but I mean, really, who else has a chia pet on their chin for their Gnome?
218, 13 homers, 36 runs batted in. He's back from a minor hand problem. He was hit by a pitch a couple days ago. It was actually Wednesday. There's a strike, and that right hand was puffy, so he was not a part of the action last night. But now, you can see it still looks puffy, Ash.
Yeah, it makes me feel bad. I shook hands with Evan tonight, gave him the big full grip.
Liner to left on his Gnome night. Evan Gattis with a 3-run homer. Enjoy your Gnome. That's number 14 of the year, and it's 3-0 Astros.
Gnome problems for Evan Gattis. He didn't get all of this ball off the end of the bat a little bit, but enough. And boy, to pick up 3 runs early in a ball game like this could be huge.
14 homers, 39 runs batted in.
You're supposed to do well on your bobblehead night, aren't you? Or the gnome night?
Yes. He did not allow any suspense to be built on that, as he hit number 14, his first since July 6th against Seattle's Wade LeBlanc here. 28 at bats since that last one. Jake Marisnick fouls it away.
We just got reminded that that was a gnome run.
Ooh. 1 homer, 8 runs batted in at a 206 average for Jake. He's picked up the pace since the break, going 5 for 14. He fouls that one away. Wasn't that something? We didn't finish the story about the 2 catchers. Jason Castro was in the original lineup tonight, and his right hand was hit last night by foul ball, and he couldn't play tonight. He had to be scratched, so that's why Gaddis is doing the catching. Foul back. Still 0-2. Jason had that same kind of hand problem that Evan did when he was hit by a pitch ball, with some bruising, apparently some puffiness in his throwing hand. In the air, and Giovatelli comes over. There's the first baseman Choi calling, and Choi has it. So Gaddis breaks out the 3-run homer to the Crawford boxes, and it's 3-0 Houston after a couple.
So a big Evan Gaddis bum. Pay tribute to 1986 Houston Astros during Legends Weekend, presented by Houston Methodist on August 5th and 6th. Weekend highlights include 10,000 fans receiving a Mike Scott 1986 replica rainbow jersey. For more information, visit astros.com/legendsweekend or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. We've got a lot of people watching this one, and they are tweeting about Evan Gaddis and their Gaddis gnomes this evening. So keep the tweets coming. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, you do. There's strike one. Carlos Perez leads it off in the 3rd. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of traffic on Twitter. It's going to be an active night. A lot going on with Chris Sale and gnomes and wild card races and divisional races and things like that. Ash.
Yeah, there's still a lot to be decided. A month ago, I didn't think this was possible, so it's great to see.
Bounce it at first. There's the toss. Colin McHugh takes that flip from Marwin Gonzalez. 1 out.
Yeah, I don't know what the actual date was, but again, June 20th, as late as June 20th, the Astros were 11 games back, despite making a great move in terms of starting to win. But that's how well the Texas Rangers were playing at that time.
Yes, they had the best winning percentage in the American League. And how things have turned. They lost last night, as you know, and they're trailing 1-0 in the 3rd at Kansas City tonight. Foul ball, Todd Cunningham, the left fielder, with a 182 average for 22 at bats. He came in late in the game last night. Recall from AAA July 6th. Switch hitter Drafted by Atlanta in the second round in 2010. He's from Jacksonville, Florida. Went to Jacksonville State in Alabama. And taps that one foul. No balls, 2 strikes to Cunningham, who had 86 at bats with the Atlanta Braves last year, and he was a waiver claim in October. So the Angels picked him up, and they've been using him lately in left field. Infield shifts around. Inside on the fastball from Colin McHugh for a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Now the Rangers, by the way, claimed an Astro, a former Astro, on waivers today. Matt Duffy. Ground ball. There's Marwin. Once again to Colin. 2 outs. And the rumors are strong that the Rangers are gathering their top brass in Kansas City for a meeting. General Manager John Daniels marshaling the forces to see what they need to do. It would seem that they would be in for making a trade for a starting pitcher.
If they were healthy and fresh with that starting rotation and add something of quality to it, it's a really, I mean, an impressive bunch they have put together.
It really is. Escobar opened the game with a single over Carlos Correa. Correa backhanding, throwing from the grass. Terrific play by Carlos Correa. This is a beauty to end a 7-pitch inning.
Three-run dinger. We're in the 3rd inning. Make memories at an Astros game every Sunday with family-friendly activities presented by Kroger. The next Sunday home game, well, that's tomorrow, mañana, 24th of July. For more information, visit astros.com/Sundays or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. George Springer against Jared Weaver has had some success. That slider got crushed back in Anaheim earlier. It's not the Lone Ranger that George has hit. He waits on the slow curveball, launches another bullpen area again in Anaheim, and George was feeling it right about then. Didn't seem like a team participation dance either.
He walked in the 1st inning. He can hit this one a long way to left center field. That bangs off the bullpen fence. Springer's in with a double. 5-game hitting streak for George. 15th double of the year.
I think George, like Evan Gattis would tell you, he didn't come even close to getting all of this ball. But as he got a very good pitch to hit, he waited back, which seems to be the difficulty for so many guys, to wait on Jared Weaver. And he just picks up a little measly 2-bagger to start the inning.
Hit number 3 for the Astros.
It's an easy game at times.
Yeah, it looks easy. Marwin Gonzalez hit a fly ball to center. Third baseman Escobar in close. Showing bunt. He takes in tight. There's ball one. We've had a lot of response on Twitter from Astros fans nominating different third base candidates for the top Astro third baseman of all time.
It's a good argument. You know, if Marwin was truly looking for a pitch to drag to the right side, that was a great pitch to be able to do it with.
Right.
Fastball on the inside edge or possibly just off.
That's bunt at third base side. Whoa, nobody there. That's an easy bunt single as the pitcher and third baseman both stood there and looked at each other, and Marwin is aboard, advancing Springer to third base.
That is your standard. I got it. You take it. Yeah, I would have anticipated Marwin bunting to the first base side. Maybe he opted to go toward third base to force the third baseman, Yunel Escobar, come in and make the play. Then the only out is at first base. And, you know, you think like that, but it certainly crossed up the Angels.
And now Weaver's in a full-blown jam, trailing 3-0. Runners at first and third, nobody out for Jose Altuve. Altuve on a full count, grounded to shortstop in the first inning. Andrew Glover is reciting Jeff Blum's statistics as an Astro. Foul back by Jose. Blummer hit .259. Had a .711 OPS, 46 homers, 7 triples, 77 doubles, 228 RBIs, 188 runs scored.
I'm good with those numbers, but then Morgan Ensberg and Ken Caminetti might have something to say about that.
Yeah. 1-1.
You know, and again, I'll mention Art Howe. It may not have been about all the offensive numbers, but you know, you don't add players up in a clubhouse and in the dugout by all those offensive numbers all the time. Artie brought a lot to the party.
Sure did. An Artie party. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Somebody said nobody knows the troubles I've seen.
Yeah, we got a lot of gnome jokes floating around tonight.
Somebody's wondering if it's a little early to mention Alex Bregman as the all-time third baseman.
It might be a bit premature since he hasn't spent 1 day in the big leagues.
You are a party killer.
Fly ball out to left and not deep for Cunningham. Cunningham with a catch. The runners hold. 1 out. Julia Morales.
Thanks, Brownie. Ash mentioning earlier, you know, the key against Weaver, maybe to be disciplined. A lot of the hitters talk about how they get maybe a little over anxious with a guy that's not throwing so hard. They're ready to go. And if you are going to ambush him like Springer, make sure it's a pitch you can handle, of course, with that double there. But so that was something that's in the Astros' head coming in today. But also the second and third time through the order, hitters' numbers have gone way up. So that's something to look for as this game progresses.
Sure is. Carlos Correa singled and scored in the second inning. Correa had an 8-game RBI streak against the Angels until last night. That's the 3rd longest RBI streak ever against the Angels. But you want to know who had the longer ones. Ash. Chet Lemon drove in runs against the Halos in 10 games in a row in 78 and 79. And Rupert Jones had 9 straight RBI games against them in 79.
You get out of my head, Bronny.
Okay. And tight. 1-1.
How about these names? Dennis Menke, former batting coach and third baseman with the Astros. And Vinny Castilla. He was not in his prime years with the Astros, but nonetheless played very well.
Sure did. A lot to consider. That hot corner in the history of this club.
Scrap iron.
Yes. He and Denny Walling had an effective platoon at third base.
Yeah, they did.
2-1. Carlos Correa took part in a worthwhile charity effort today, awarding mattresses to kids who needed them. 500 of them. Three balls and a strike. He was packing up those mattresses this morning along with a lot of volunteers. They awarded brand new twin beds, frames, sheets, pillows, and blankets to 500 deserving children as a part of his partnership with Houston Children's Charity, a Better Night's Sleep program through his Restless for the Cause initiative. Correa takes a walk, and the bases are loaded with one out for Valbuena. Third walk for Weaver.
Our Lexus defensive ratings as we look around the outfield for the LA Angels of Anaheim. Todd Cunningham, I really couldn't tell you, so I'll accept the yellow in the run category. Mike Trout throws well and charges the ball extremely well. Cole Calhoun, same story, might have the strongest arm in that outfield. So yeah, I was actually curious if they would try to run on Cunningham, but that fly ball off the bat of Altuve, very shallow.
Inside to Valbuena for ball one. He worked the count full and hit a fly ball to center in the second inning. Yeah, with nobody out, and that ball was not deep. Gary Pettis was not sending George Springer. And for a strike, that evens it at 1-1.
77 miles an hour. That's the changeup, and really not close to the strike zone.
No, it was not.
Luis Valbuena needs us to plead his case.
Now 2-1. Well, Weaver is a cagey sort, and he'll try to tickle the fringes of that strike zone, try to get the hitters to expand and hit his pitch, but now he's behind 2-1 and bases are loaded.
There's a story floating around on that Chris Sale blow up in the clubhouse. We'll get to that in a moment.
All right. Valbuena fouls it. What do you have for it?
Well, stories are stories until somebody verifies, but it says, source says Sale blow up was because he didn't want to wear throwbacks, so he cut up the jerseys so no one could wear them.
Oh,
well, yeah.
So what are they taking the field in tonight?
Workout gear, sweatshirt's optional.
Ruined the whole promotion for the team, huh?
Wear the shorts if you got them.
Fly ball, and Simmons is out. And shallow left center field, infield fly called. 2 outs. Well, you say that, but remember, once upon a time the White Sox did wear shorts.
Bet they did. Proudly. Except for the guys that had to slide into bases.
That was back in the Harry Chappas era, right? Preston Tucker, the batter.
We are talking what?
70s?
Late 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Wasn't that the disco demolition era?
It certainly was.
There's a lot going on at that time in baseball.
Throw your vinyl or your shorts into the fire.
A lot going on other than baseball. Now they talk it over, and Weaver could be about to get out of a huge situation if he can get Tucker. Tucker walked and scored in the second inning. Astros announced tonight they have signed Cuban shortstop Anibal Sierra. 22 years old, 6'1", 183. Another international signing. In for strike one. They have exceeded their international signing budget, so they will pay a 100% tax on all the money that went over their budget. There's quite a bit of it this year, but there's a reason for that. However, for the next 2 years, they will be kept to a much lower budget. This one hit him, and it forces in a run to make it 4-0. Tucker hit by the pitch. It looked like it got him on the right leg. That scores Springer. And and it's 4-0 Houston.
That's painful for Preston Tucker, but you basically say thank you very much to Jared Weaver. This inning had a chance of going nowhere, but instead now you have a run on the board and maybe can free things up a bit. Ow, that hurt.
On the right foot. Ouch. Tough way to get RBI number 6 of the year, but he's been on base both times. Carlos Gomez, who has a grand slam this year, second of his career, gets a chance for another. Fouls it back. There's strike one to Gomi, who struck out on a curveball in the second inning.
Taking some big swings in that second inning right here. Looked like he was going to just try to slap one into right field.
It sure did. Rocky cut down on that big swing. Gaddis is on deck. It's 1-1. It can be a real game of patience for hitters facing Weaver. Upstairs, and so far Gomez looking fairly patient. 2 balls and a strike.
Really something when you're watching Jared Weaver, bases loaded right here, and trying to throw the fastball up and brings it at 83.
Over the winter, he decided to start stretching 30 to 60 minutes a day. Realized he was at the crossroads of his career. Felt that he had bulked up too much last year with weights. Check swing attempt, and it works. And it's 3-1.
Wow, the pitch looked pretty good.
Yeah. Jerry Lane made the call from first base on the check swing.
What was that pitch?
Yeah, that does look good.
Probably would have said that went through too, but take a break when it's handed to you.
Strike, and it's 3-2. That, on the other hand, did not look so good.
Well,
yeah, that's good. Never mind.
You're going to have to write on the blackboard following class, Brownie.
Here's guessing it's a curveball again. That's the pitch he used to strike out Gomez with in the second inning. In the air, and it's to shallow right field. Calhoun on the fastball for Weaver this time for out number 3. The Astros settle for a run on 2 hits. They leave 3. After 3 innings, they're up 4-0.
He was picking the pitches up very well. Lance did a pretty good job of making him look for the fastball. He pounded him in a little bit. Then he did the breaking ball. Later in the game, he threw the breaking ball early, tried to finish him with some fastballs, and then put him away with some chase breaking balls. So one of the best hitters in the game. You don't get him uncomfortable very easily. It shows how electrifying Lance can be when he's inside the strike zone and makes these guys have to account for more than one pitch.
That's the skipper with the Geico quote of the day. And McCullers, the first righty to strike out Mike Trout, swinging in 3 straight plate appearances. Pretty impressive stuff. And Brownie, I know you said this earlier, but Mike Trout said after the game he just wasn't picking up his curveball. So unusual for a guy who's such a good low ball hitter, a good off-speed hitter.
You mean no right-handed pitcher had in the history of Mike Trout in the big leagues done that?
Strike him out swinging in 3 straight plate appearances.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you, Julia. 1 ball, 1 strike to Cole Calhoun in a 4-0 game. Colin McHugh struck out Calhoun in the first inning. That was part of a strikeout throwout double play on Escobar, who was caught stealing. Through the first 3 innings, Weaver threw 73 pitches to McHugh's 33. 2 balls and a strike. Grounded foul. The Astros really are signing the Cubans lately. With the signing of Sierra. And he is the 7th Cuban player signed by Houston since the 2014 international signing period.
Yeah, that seems to be a hotbed of very good players.
This could be a hit. And it is. Calhoun, a little roller. And against the shift, that trickled into left field for a single.
Looking now at our Ford spray chart. Let us see Mike Trout. The hits against Colin McHugh that he's had. He's kind of used the whole field, and of course he can run, he can do everything. But that power game, again, a year ago, 41 dingers for Trout. He has 19 this year. Sounds like a good figure, but well behind what he did last year. So I wouldn't be surprised at some point if he starts opening up a barrage with the long ball. Not in this series.
Ball 1 to Trout, who struck out in the first inning.
There's that curveball. There have been tough times for Colin McHugh against Mike Trout with the curveball. Look at this one down around the ankles, and it didn't come back in play. That's how tough he can be. So for Lance McCullers to have the success he had last night, awfully rare.
2-0 to Trout. Jammed on that one. He hits it to shallow center field. Gomez got a good jump. 1 out. Now it's Pujols.
Take a look at that jump in center field, and looked like a pretty nice quick jump for Carlos. Not to mention the jump at the end there.
It helps to have a center fielder who can read the fact that that ball is not well hit and get started in toward the infield quickly. There's strike 1 to Pujols. And he pulls the ball on the ground a great percentage of the time, so the usual infield shift is being used. He does pull that one foul, but he'll pull an outside pitch, and we've talked about this before, but the metrics of the game, there is so much science in the game right now, indicates that a pull hitter is going to be a pull hitter even against a pitch in the mid-90s most of the time.
Yeah, where I differ is location. If you pitch into a shift, to me really helps. If you pitch the other way, it affords an opportunity to shoot one the other way.
Right.
And right there, it really was a classic case of Pujols looked to me like had he squared that up, that ball was going to head toward right center field.
Agreed. Excellent point, Ash. Because he's such a good hitter that he understands what the pitcher's going to be trying to do to him.
And we've seen Pujols take advantage on the other side. Some might say, well, go ahead. We're fine with him doing that.
Fouls that ball, but you know, he'll take that outside pitch and rip it into left field. I still think a good way to pitch him is down and in. Not all the time, because with the great hitters, it doesn't really work to pitch them the same way all the time.
If you find a guy in a funk, that might pay off. But, you know, if you find a guy that's swinging it well, I think he'll quickly adjust.
Yeah. That's where Colin has the weapons to work very well in the big leagues. He has the variety of pitches. His curveball has been his most effective pitch this year. That's a foul ball. Pujols' plate coverage is just so outstanding that he can reach out across and hit a pitch just off the outside corner into left field. Rangers lead the Royals now 2-1. They're in the middle of the fourth inning in Kansas City. Gomez comes into shallow center. Again, 2 outs. That's what Chris Sale did not want to wear tonight, Ash.
Well, that's what they're saying. And, you know, Chris is a gangly kind of guy. I'm not sure he'd make that uniform look quite that good, if you want to call that looking good. Mary Carroll here says she'll go with that look anytime.
Okay. They're lined up. Andrelton Simmons is the batter. He doubled to right center earlier. Ball 1.
No hurry now. No hurry.
This game 2 of a 3-game series and a 6-game homestand. Tomorrow at 1:10, it's Mike Fiers and Tim Lincecum. We're on the air at 12:30. And Monday night, the Yankees are here to open a 3-game set. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all 3 games starting at 7:10. One and 1 to Simmons. Monday night it's Dallas Keuchel and Michael Pineda. Tuesday night Doug Fister and CC Sabathia. Wednesday night Lance McCullers and Masahiro Tanaka. Thursday's an off day. The Astros head for Detroit for just a 3-game road trip, and then they'll have a lot of games at home in August. But they also have a long road trip coming up. 2 balls and a strike. They'll be seeing a bunch of Toronto Blue Jays in August.
7 games during the month with the Jays, right?
Yeah.
Those could be meaningful in that. Well, they're going to be meaningful one way or the other. But
true. You
got the Jays battling for the wild card.
The Jays got clocked today by Seattle. That's a strike to Simmons. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. 14-5. Mariners beat Toronto in Toronto. R.A. Dickey took a drubbing.
Those are 2 clubs that can put up some runs.
Nelson Cruz hit a home run straightaway center, a long way off Dickey. Simmons takes ball 3. That one almost got him on the leg, and it's a full count.
Don't think they still have the restaurant out there in center field in Toronto, but I wonder if it was up in that restaurant area.
It was in the seats above center field, beyond the center field wall at second level. So not quite that far up, but still extremely well.
Where you could have gotten your dessert served very quickly.
Yeah, he got his dessert all right. Curveball struck him out. That's number 3 of the night for Colin McHugh. And it's 4-0 Astros in the 4th.
here in the fourth inning. Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. What about pitchers active who have given up the most right here at Minute Maid Park? Jared Weaver is at the top of that list. That 10 figure thanks to Evan Gattis with one tonight. Chris Young, Ross Ollendorf, R.A. Dickey. Who was that number one? It was Bronson Arroyo has given up the most not active though.
Evan Gattis ripped a home run. There is strike one. It was a 3-run shot in the second inning. Here it is, actually.
Off the end of the bat. But you head toward the Crawford boxes, and sometimes you don't need to get all of it. That was the case there, and a big swing for the Stros.
1-1. We're reminded by Mike Romano that Colby Rasmus had a big day on his bobblehead day. But here's the Gnome. So on Evan Gattis Gnome night, he has a 3-run homer, first at bat. Could this be number 2 of the night? No way! Evan Gattis, 2 homers on his Gnome night, and that's number 15 of the year to make it 5-0.
Yeah, we've used all the lines already, so I won't even bother trying. Just I've got a chip on my shoulder, and I think it's the way Evan Gattis is feeling about things. Oh, that is so nice to see for Evan. It's been cold with the bat. Nice turnaround time.
Big game, and it's only the 4th inning. Now Jake Marisnick looks at ball 1.
Treat me like a teammate.
Oh, yes. In for a strike, 1-1. Where's Wally Pipp down there on the bench?
You can feel it when you are Wally Pipp, though.
Fly ball in the shallow right field. Here's Giovatelli, and that is in for a hit. And Marisnick is stretching it out. He's in with a hustling double. Double number 9 of the year for Jake.
Big fella can really run. Fortunate this ball drops in. But a lot of guys who are fortunate wind up at first base on this ball, not Jake. Took a half beat before he took off, but look at him go first to second. Was just a gorgeous thing. It was not the classic turn of first base.
6 hits for Houston. Release Chacin warming up in the bullpen. George Springer the batter. He has a walk and a double. Ash has the Gnome now. One time is called by the catcher Perez.
I gave up. Okay, well, here we go.
Some serious karma with this Evan Gattis Gnome tonight, Ash.
So this is the chip on the shoulder that I was feeling, and I think Evan has been feeling it too. And I don't even think right now he wants to get that chip off his shoulder. What about you?
Keep it on there.
Yeah. I may abandon for a while here, but Evan can feel free. Hasn't bothered his catching either.
Who's Wally Pipp? Jason Castro. Springer rocks one on a line to the left field wall. Here's Marisnick coming around to make it 6-0. Springer into second. And the throw is there early, and he is tagged out. Cunningham got the ball to Giovatelli around number 1, but Springer picks up RBI number 57. And Marisnick comes home.
Well, that was some serious raking by George Springer. That wasn't one of those off the end of the bat jobs at all. Jake Marisnick appreciated in the dugout. Watch this ball get hung out. I mean, that is getting the head out. Gary Pettis waving him home, but not necessary.
Marwin Gonzalez to right field. Brought by Calhoun. 2 outs. Now look at number 2 of the night for Gattis.
Yeah, the first Gattis home run off the end of the bat. This one squared up. And he was enjoying things right about here. My Gnome may have a chia pet on its chin, but take this.
Was that ball hit softly?
Nicely done.
Altuve Strike to Altuve. He's 0 for 2. That's the 6th career multi-home run game for Gaddis.
Yacker might have been up a little on Jose. He's not worried about it.
1-1. We've just received a cease and desist order from the Houston courts. No more gnome talk tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I resisted there. You couldn't resist, could you?
Coming over, Calhoun with the catch in right field. Altuve's 0 for 3, but the Astros through 4 have 6 runs on 7 hits. They have 2 bombs from the gnome man, and it is 6-0 Houston.
Here at Minute Maid Park. And 2016 Coca-Cola Astros Buddies memberships are on sale now for only $25. Buddies members get a voucher for 4 tickets to an Astros game, VIP access to Kids Run the Bases, exclusive autograph sessions, and more. Memberships for kids up to 12 years old are available by visiting astros.com/buddies. I bet Evan Gaddis is a buddy of Colin McHugh, and I talked about Colin earlier in the broadcast. One of the things I said was key for him today was controlling the walks. No walks for him so far. But another thing against this Angels lineup, they're great high ball hitters. Several of them are, including Albert Pujols, who he's gotten out twice so far. But a key for him was that cutter curveball command being so important. He's got to get them to look up in that zone, and those curveballs that end up below the zone will be effective. Of course, Mike Trout, maybe a different story with that home run you guys showed earlier. Way low and out of the zone, but still somehow got to it.
Strike to Choi. It's 1-1. Julia, what do you think of those White Sox uniforms tonight with the shorts? Have you seen a picture yet?
Not good. No.
You're not a fan?
Not a fan.
Then you're not trying.
2-1.
Harold Baines loved that uniform.
Oh, yes.
Somebody wants to know where Chris Sale found scissors that quickly.
Better keep him away from sharp objects for a while.
No kidding.
3-1. That's ripped to right field. That's going to be a high flyer. The Angels get a long ball from Choi, number 2 of the year. They're on the board trailing 6-1.
Yeah, he didn't miss much of this baseball.
Runs batted in for Choi.
By the way, if I may go on about Evan Gaddis a little bit, I think his value hasn't gone up as a guy who has shown that he can play behind the plate and play well, throw out base runners, and hit with the power he's swinging it tonight.
Big time, and it's so timely for the Astros that he's been able to do that at catcher. Giovatelli grounded out earlier to third. Fouls it back, strike 1. Word is the front office is searching for a quick order of more gnomes.
For the rest of the season at home.
Yeah. Let's from people they want more gnome nights.
Let's see, it's working for Evan. Who can we We make some 4 quickly here now.
Curveball, and it's 0-2. For Texas tonight, it's Cole Hamels. For Kansas City, Yordano Ventura. Omar Mazara hit his 12th home run. Texas leads it 2-1 at the end of 4. Ground ball third. Backhanded play by Bueno. One-hop throw to Marwin Gonzalez.
Plenty some third base, and he used his glove this time. He's been spectacular at times and very consistent almost all the rest at third base. That is a very tough play. And really not an easy dig at all. Not a difficult dig, rather, for Marwin. He would say, go ahead and make that throw anytime.
Sure. Glove optional. 6-1 lead, and here's Perez now. Perez grounded out. There's strike 1. That kind of straps the White Sox, with Sale having been scratched from a start tonight, because according to reports, he cut up the uniform he was supposed to have worn. We'll have to check and see who was substituted for Sale. Fly ball to right field. Springer backing. 2 outs.
It was likely Wilbur Wood.
There you have it.
Is that a collar?
Yeah, there was a collar on those uniforms. There was.
Oh my goodness.
You don't like?
No. No, no, no.
Well, it's a good thing you weren't around in 1979, Julia.
You're a grumpy type.
Yeah, that's not even stylish. Todd Cunningham.
I'm hearing the White Sox are not wearing shorts tonight.
No?
So either, I don't know, maybe Chris Sale was just so thorough with the scissors that he took care of that business. I don't know.
Maybe took care of all of them. Matt Albers was pulled out of the bullpen to make the start tonight for the White Sox, with Sale having been sent home. And it's Detroit and Chicago after 2-1 White Sox. Tigers are 5 games over 500. That's chopped foul by Cunningham. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Astros headed for Detroit soon. They will be in the mix of that wild card situation with the Tigers when they play each other. Tigers are currently 6 games behind front-running Cleveland in the AL Central. It's 2-2.
Did you see where Cryan Jordan left Gaddis off his fantasy team tonight?
No.
That's what they're saying.
How could that happen? Well, it was nice for the Astros with that sterling performance of McCullers last night. 8 innings to give the bullpen some rest. By the way, Matt Albers is making his first start since 2008 on an emergency basis.
See, I told you. I would not lie to you, Brownie.
There's been some work done here.
Yeah, not pregame work.
Curveball, tap, foul. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Baltimore leads Cleveland 3-0 at the end of 4 in Baltimore. The Birds probably are candidates to try to make a deal for a starting pitcher. They have a half-game lead on Boston right now. Kevin Gossman is on the mound for them tonight. Fouled away. Mark Trumbo hit his 30th home run. 30 already.
He scuffled when he got to Seattle last year. I think they really thought he was going to add that bat to their club. It didn't work out that way, but he's found it now with the O's.
30 homers July 23rd.
Like Showalter magic.
Strike him out looking. That's number 4 for Colin McHugh. And a 6-1 Houston lead.
We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Follow Astros baseball live with the MLB.com Bat app. That's the @Bat app. Stay up to the moment with game day, StatCast live highlights, and even more when you're at the game with Minute Maid Park's new Wi-Fi. Download the app for your phone or tablet. Do it right now.
The Angels go to the bullpen, Ash, with Jhoulys Chacín.
You are so right, and as we see Jhoulys Chacín, 20th outing of the year. He's made 15 starts for the club, but he's had his struggles. ERA up about 5.5. A couple of innings against the Astros back on June 20th, and he got roughed up in that one. And you see both lefties and righties swinging it very well against him. Jhoulys Chacín.
Well, he takes over after Jared Weaver went 4 innings, allowing 7 hits, 6 runs, walking 3. He had 1 strikeout. Here's Carlos Correa with a deep drive to right field, and Correa goes oppo. Number 15. On the first pitch thrown by Chacín, Correa takes it out for a 63rd run batted in, 3rd home run for the Astros tonight, 7-1.
I think Carlos Correa was just envisioning himself on a gnome night. Well, that's nice to see, and that's a big one for Carlos.
That's his 5th against the Halos this year. He's driven in 19 runs against the Angels. Now Luis Valbuena 0 for 2 with ball 1. Correa really rocked one that way after a single to right field and a walk. Perfect night going for Carlos. And that gives him the club record for homers by a shortstop. He was tied with Adam Everett with 35. Now Carlos Correa at age 21 is the all-time home run leader for Astros shortstops.
Some are going to check it out and they're going to say, well, he's got one more than that. It was hit as a non-shortstop. So those are dingers as a shortstop. So he's the king right now. Long live the king.
He entered the night 4th among all Major League shortstops, American League shortstops in homers. He's a happy camper. Valbuena fouls it.
Ooh.
2-2 to Luis.
That was your stone on the lake.
Preston Tucker's on deck. And that's a foul ball. The Astros are trying for their 10th straight win against this team. Jay Hinch's club trying to go to 9 games over 500. Foul ball keeps the count at 2-2. It's the Astros' longest winning streak against an American League team in club history. And in fact, it's their longest winning streak against any single opponent since the 04 and 05 seasons, when they had a 12-game winning streak against both the Phillies and the Reds, both spanning those 2 years. Ground ball first. Choi with the play. 1 out. Let's look at Correa a little bit more, Ash.
Well, he didn't give us a lot to look at, just one pitch. But boy, he has shown that opposite field power, home run power this year. And what I also liked about it, it's been pretty passive, especially with nobody on base early in counts. He got a fastball there and was ready to tee off. And it affords a little dancing opportunity as well.
Preston Tucker with strike 1 has been on both times tonight with a walk, and then he was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. Chacin is 28. He was born in Venezuela. He's pitched in the majors for Colorado and Arizona. In for a strike, and it's 0-2. Tim Lincecum goes tomorrow for the Angels. He's 2-3 with a 6.59 ERA after signing as a free agent. Mike Fiers gets the start for Houston, 6-4 with a 4.75. Tucker's caught looking for out number 2. There's that Mattress Firm event today for Carlos Correa, giving away the mattresses, the bedding for Houston's children's charity, Restless for the Cause. $500 mattresses.
We've been talking about those donations on the home runs for the club this year. Double when Correa hits them, so double up, guys.
Gomez has struck out and fly to right. There's a ground ball to first for Choi. Tossing, and Chacin is there. The Correa home run here in the 5th inning gives the Astros a nice lead heading into the 6th inning, 7-1. Colorful faces there. The Astros Road Ahead is presented by DeMontrond RV, showing you the upcoming schedule. 1 game remaining in this series tomorrow, then 3 with the Yankees here. On the road for just 3 to Detroit. Back home, 4 with Toronto, 3 with Texas, and then on the road on a 7-game trip, 4 at Minnesota and 3 at Toronto. How's it looking elsewhere in the American League East? Orioles a half game ahead of the Red Sox. Blue Jays 2.5 out. The Yankees trail by 7. And the Rays are 17.5 games behind.
The Orioles have been on top for a while, but Red Sox and Blue Jays are coming on.
Yunel Escobar is 1 for 2. Line drive left center field. Gomez over, plays it on a hop, fires into second base. Wow, that's well done to hold him to a single. Escobar 2 for 3 in this game. Looked like a double off the bat.
Yeah, it did. That's a little better toss than one earlier in the ball game from Carlos. Has a very good arm. It's all about accuracy, consistency with that arm, but watch him cut it loose. Looks like one of those 8th, 9th inning guys coming in out of the bullpen.
Now we have Cole Calhoun batting. He's 1 for 2. That's 5 hits for the Angels. Foul back. There's strike 1.
By the way, Brownie, did you notice as you were bringing us back in for the inning those painted faces?
Yes.
Did you consider how nice those would have looked with those White Sox unis we've been looking at?
Ooh.
I think they were ideal.
Fit right in, wouldn't it? So I guess if Sale stays with the White Sox, they won't be having that uniform promotion again.
They might choose another set of unis for the big left-hander.
Popped up. Altuve. 1 out. He moves right in front of Marwin.
There goes Marwin's chance at the fielding title. There's the uniform Chris Sale would love to wear.
What is that all about? Do you know?
The Fresno, what are they? What?
Grizzlies.
The Three Amigos night.
Yeah. Three Amigos night.
That's perfect. I love it.
How would you have felt about wearing that unit?
Oh, bring it on right now. I'll go back and play. During my playing days, not so much. But
Mike Trout is 0 for 2. Perspective does change, right?
Yeah, it does.
When someone else is wearing it. He's hit by the pitch. And the home plate umpire also got it on that one. Hunter Wendelstedt. The Trout heads for first and Escobar for second with 1 out. Pujols will be the batter.
Yeah, wear it with pride. Well, the pants look different from one to the other. I guess
they do. Well, the one guy doesn't have his uniform pants on. He's wearing his street pants.
Garcon, can I have? Oh.
Okay, just showing off the socks. They're both wearing street pants. Albert Pujols has hit 2 fly balls that have been caught in this game.
I suggest you tip well in that restaurant.
They strike 1. Now with Lance McCullers going 8 innings last night, that puts the Astros in very nice territory. And it's something that's rarely been done. We were checking around through Major League Baseball to see how often a starting pitcher goes at least 8 innings in a game. It's not very often this year. These days, this doesn't happen a whole lot, Ash.
Yeah, and you take it back to, I guess, the 80s, and you had guys throwing complete games all over the place. Something about the Oakland A's. Is it the 80s where they had 3 or 4 guys on the rotation with 10+ complete games on the year?
Yeah, they had Steve McCaddy and that bunch when Billy Martin was their manager, and I think most of them blew their arms out after that. Yeah.
So that's why this all happened.
Pretty much. Kingman, Norris, some of those starters. But here's the way it went for McCullers last night.
Well, it went very well, and he had a shot going into the 9th inning. I actually didn't hear AJ's comments as you watch Lance mow down the Angels hitters. I thought it was a moment for AJ Hinch to say, look, I'm going to build the confidence of a guy who could be the ace of the staff. And I applaud that. I think that's always an effort worth taking. I know a lot of people disagreed with McCullers going out for the 9th inning. It's just how far you'd let him stay in the 9th.
Pujols is incensed over strike 3 call from Hunter Wendelstedt. 2 outs.
Albert might want to take a look at least our strike box on this. Let's see. Any part of the baseball touches any part of the strike zone. Yeah, Albert's not going to be convinced on that. No way.
The yelling continues from the dugout. Wendelstedt has just motioned over there. Andrelton Simmons, the batter, he has a double and a strikeout. And it's ball 1.
You think guys don't take this game seriously? And believe me, that's what it feels like.
In for a strike, 1-1. Texas 3, Kansas City 1. They're in the middle of the 5th at Kansas City. One and 2. Jim Bowden of ESPN writes that the Astros are among the favorites to land either Andrew Miller or Aroldis Chapman if the Yankees decide to trade them.
Those would be prize pieces for a bullpen, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would. And according to Jim Bowden, the Astros are primed to make another big deal over the next 10 days. Of course, Jim Bowden also said that Alex Bregman would be here several days ago. In the dirt. 2-2. You can be assured of this. There are going to be a few rumors flying around here in the next 10 days.
Well, we're spending a little bit of time with it tonight.
Yes, we are. I really think that Tampa Bay starting rotation is going to be a target of several teams looking for a starter. And there are 3 different starters that have been mentioned prominently.
I love Chris Archer. Matt Moore is a little dicier for me because of the arm problems he's had.
Jake Odorizzi probably isn't on the level of those two, is he?
But not bad either. I mean, a guy that could certainly be helpful in a rotation.
Right. Foul ball.
Look, you don't always get Randy Johnson in a deal. That's awfully rare. This Chris Archer got a great arm. Numbers are not fantastic this year. But I think sometimes you take a chance on a guy with a great arm and a guy who looks like he can really deal. Might pay off. Depends on what they're asking.
Club friendly contract, under control for a few more years to come. He's had very good years. That's over Altuve out into right center field. Simmons has driven in Escobar. And it's 7-2 on the RBI single. Simmons 2 for 3 tonight. That's his 21st run batted in. Trout wound up at third base.
Well, he looked like he was starting to set a trend in the last couple of years that maybe he wasn't the hitter he was the first year in the big leagues. I don't think the power's the same now, but Angels must, for the moment, be extremely pleased they picked up this great defensive player.
The way he's swinging the bat, you bet. That's 6 hits for the Halos. Ji-Man Choi, who homered last time up, is 1 for 2. Looking at ball 1. The 1982 Oakland A's had 42 complete games. There have been 48 complete games in the majors this year.
That's a little stark.
Foul back. Still 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, those uniforms we looked at from the Fresno Grizzlies worked last night. They beat Albuquerque 4-3 with Max Stassi's walk-off homer.
Tell the guys you wear them till you lose. I have a feeling that might set up a poor evening.
Josh Fields got the win. In for a strike, 1-2. Fresno Grizzlies. Good thing Chris Sale never played for us.
That's quality. I like that.
Yeah. Foul back, and it stays at a ball and 2 strikes. We had a question on Twitter about what's the best clubhouse tirade you can remember.
Might have come from a manager I played for.
Oh yeah,
actually.
That guy in the minor leagues?
Oh no, I didn't play for that guy. That was quality at it as his best. The Marine, former Marine.
Marine, yeah. Check swing attempt, and he did check it. On appeal to Trip Gibson, it's ball 2 to Choi.
I may be crossing my branches of the service, but following that exhibition you're talking about, the Marines still may be looking for a few good men.
Hal Lanier had some pretty good tirades.
I might have been mentioning him when I referenced a manager I played for.
Al McRae went off in the clubhouse on reporters many years ago when he was the manager.
Lou Piniella with Rob Dibble, or vice versa.
That's another one. 3-2. The Oakland A's had a fight every other day. Jim Frey, he lost it one day when he was managing the Cubs. Who was there? There was another Cubs skipper who.
I was just thinking of Hal McRae, who didn't get along with some reporters.
Yeah, that was it. Runner going from first, and it's foul back. There's another Cubs skipper. This is back many years ago, who went on a rant about fans who didn't have jobs coming out to watch Cubs games. Can't remember who he was.
Yeah, and you guys stay away from now on.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I should be able to.
Yeah, Lee Elia.
Preston. Oh, Lee Elia. That's who it was.
Yep.
Tommy Lasorda was known to sound off a bit.
He did. 3-2, and it's pop foul and out of play again. The clubhouse tirades. We'd have to think a little bit more about that.
That was around Joaquin Andujar when one of his uniforms didn't survive a fire.
Well, of course, many clubhouse tirades never come to public light.
That's true.
There are some beauties that nobody would know about in the media. Foul ball keeps the count full. And there was we were talking about great Astros third baseman down through the years. Now Doug Rader, I don't think this was a clubhouse tirade, but he hit some golf balls right off the carpeting in the clubhouse, right?
Did he ever? And he didn't limit that to one club that he played for. He played with Doug up in Toronto, and he brought a whole new spirit to the club.
He wouldn't hit anything like a hybrid 3, would he?
Yeah, if it was anywhere near his locker, you can guarantee he'd hit it.
There were stories about guys diving into their lockers, golf balls ricocheting all around the room.
It's like back in the day when you'd have the atomic bomb warning stuff, and you duck and dive under your table.
Soft foul ball. Valbuena does not have a shot at it. Twelfth pitch coming to Choi. And 98 for the game for Colin. In quest of win number 7 of the year. Fires goes tomorrow against Tim Lincecum. That is high, and it's a check swing that goes against the Angels. It's called a swing for Choi, and that ends the top of the 6th with 1 run scoring on 2 hits and 2 men left. It's 7-2 Houston. Astros baseball on Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity. And by Toyota, let's go places. Let's go to the Gnome Man. Evan Gattis has 2 home runs on his Gnome night. Taking strike 1 as the home 6th inning begins. He hit a 3-run shot in the 2nd inning, a solo homer in the 4th, both coming to left field. Carlos Lee, the last Astro to hit 3 in a game, that came in '07. Gattis takes a look at a ball low and outside. Jam shot foul out of the reach of Perez. 2 balls and a strike to Evan. Well, with his 2 long balls tonight and another by Correa, the Astros have hit 121 homers. They're 9th in long balls in the American League.
Is that the real Evan Gattis, or is that one of your gnomes tonight?
Tell you what, whatever he's done, and he had a sore hand, he has certainly cured it in this game. 3 balls and 2 strikes now. We think the count is off on the scoreboard. Yeah, 3-2 now. The home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt is correcting that count. It's a full count. Baltimore leads Cleveland 3-0 in the 6th with Kevin Gausman pitching. Strike 3 called. Second punch out for Chacin.
I should still get another at bat. I'd love to see 3 for the big guy tonight.
That's a night to remember for anybody. Jake Marisnick doubled to right in the 4th and came around to score on a George Springer single. He's 1 for 2. The Jake fan. Jake looks at ball 1. Jake was out doing his usual pregame routine with a football helmet on in the outfield.
George right by his side.
Yeah, well, I didn't see George out there today, but Jake had a good workout. Gary Pettis, the outfield coach, was out there with him. 2-0.
Pretty good looking pitch right there.
Yeah. It's amazing how much work these players do physically before ball games. One hopper to Escobar. 2 outs.
They work like crazy, and it's the opinion of some of us that maybe at times they work too much.
Yeah.
Any shortcomings you may feel like for some of the players, it's not because of lack of work.
No, not at all. George Springer has a walk, a double, and an RBI single in this game. Strike 1 to George. Oh, 2. Somebody wants us to sing Gnome on the Range.
Feel free. I've heard you sing. You can do it. Police reports go out when I start singing.
Ever been pulled over for singing in your car on the way home?
No, just encouraged to get home quickly.
1-2. David Delotti has seen some tirades in the clubhouse. Guys mad with the score, keeping calls. media, teammates fighting, a variety of tantrums. Backhanded Escobar. Throws out Springer. The 6th inning is over, and the Astros lead it 7-2 after 6.
Two Astros leading the way here at Minute Maid Park, and it's time to take a look at the winner of our Chevy Stroh poll. Thanks to all who voted on our Twitter page, Root Sports SW, asking you who defended the hot corner and offensively too. Who's the all-around best Astros third baseman? Kim Caminiti gets the 65% of the vote right there. Not really surprised with this one. Fan favorite there.
Yeah. He really played the game hard. Thanks, Julia. Pat Neshek's in the game for the Astros, who lead it 7-2, taking over for Colin McHugh. His first pitch is ball 1 to Giavotella, who's 0 for 2. Colin McHugh in 99 pitches, 72 of them strikes. Worked 6 innings. He gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, did not have a walk, struck out 6, had a hit batter. Strike for Neshek evens the count at 1-1 with Perez and Cunningham due to follow in the Angels' 7th. Neshek took the loss Tuesday night. He gave up a run on 1 hit in 2/3 of an inning. That was at Oakland. 2-1. Tony Sipp's working in the bullpen now. Neshek has an ERA of 0 in 5 games against this Angel club this year, covering 4 innings. Gets a strike, and it's 2-2. Tony Sipp there in the bullpen. And the Mariners' 14-5 win at Toronto today. Iwakuma won his 11th, beating R.A. Dickey. Michael Saunders hit 2 home runs to give him 19. Foul tip strikeout. The debut of Ken Caminiti was against the Philadelphia Phillies. That's Kevin Gross. July 16th, 1987. That went off the wall for a triple, Ash.
We were both there, right?
Yep.
I know I was.
We
and
were.
What a night Ken Caminiti put on for not only the fans in Major League Baseball, but his teammates. We were in awe of what this young guy did when he came on. We were in the dugout just looking at each other thinking, man, a star has been born.
Yes. Strike to Carlos Perez. Caminiti was Player of the Week his first week in the majors.
He was Player of the Universe that first week.
He just looked like somebody was going to be Godzilla. Ground ball to shortstop. One-handed by Correa. 2 outs.
Carlos Correa's arm is feeling just fine tonight.
He has some zip on that arm. Loading those mattresses has not cost him any energy. Todd Cunningham is 0 for 2. Now we had we're gonna have to find this message on Twitter about Chris Sale.
That was very good, by the way.
He was cracking us up. Jeff Miller. Julia saw it. All the scouts talk about Sale's fastball and slider, but what gets him in trouble is his cutter.
Yeah,
it's ball one.
We have a winner.
35,119 the paid attendance on a Saturday night. Tap foul last night's crowd just a little bit more, 36,453. Back in the Bill Veeck days. Got a good question here, and Pujols disagreed with strike 3 call a few minutes ago, and it's about that. Clint Rouseball on Twitter. Should player status be a factor in throwing a player out of the game? Does a rookie get as much of a leash as Pujols? Very good question.
That's a two-part question.
Yeah, it is.
Does player status is it considered by the is it part of the rules? No. Is it considered by the umpires? Absolutely.
Yes.
And beyond player status, the way umpires feel about you, the way you treat umpires is going to factor in. And Albert Pujols has been great through the years.
That's a very late swing by Cunningham. He's down on strikes. It's a 1-2-3 seventh for Neshek. The Astros lead it by 5, 7-2.
On top, and the Astros will play the Yankees this Monday through Wednesday at Minute Maid Park. Get your tickets today by visiting Astros.com or calling 1-877-9-ASTROS. The Astros optioned A.J. Reed just a couple of days ago as far as who plays first base now. Well, Marwin Gonzalez was getting a lot of playing time with the way that he's been swinging the bat. You got to have him in the lineup, but he could be getting even more time there at first base. Luis Valbuena is the other option for A.J. Hinch moving forward. So we'll see these two at first base. This roster could change again, guys, in the near future, especially with Gurriel getting closer to that visa situation being worked out. And then once he gets some at bats, we could see him pretty soon too.
Got more questions for you about that as Marwin Gonzalez takes ball one. Marwin is 1 for 3. The Astros lead at 7-2. They've out hit the Halos 8-6 with no errors in the game tonight. Yeah, Yulieski Gurriel is in Florida now. He's in Kissimmee working out with the Gulf Coast League team for the Astros. This one's tap foul, but Julia mentioned he is waiting for a work visa, so he cannot play in minor league games until he gets this work visa, which is standard. But because of this signing just a few days ago. It does take some time. Normally that doesn't happen during a season, so it may take a couple of weeks or so until he's able to play a few games, and then he should be here if everything goes perfectly. Maybe mid-August. That is just a guess, Julia, but of course AJ Hinch is not going to reveal his cards in terms of how he's going to use Gurriel. What do you think might happen?
You know, I think DH is a big possibility for Gurriel if once he gets up here, especially the way Valbuena and Marwin have been swinging the bat. You can have both of those guys in here. We could see Marwin Gonzalez play left field. That's an option as well, but I'd see Yulieski Gurriel getting some time at DH, and if that means that bats are going to be taken away from someone else, and this is a good problem for AJ Hinch as he's got that many great players to choose from. But it will get a little interesting, and these guys are going to have to know that every night they may not be getting the same, getting the same amount of at bats that they were before.
Ground ball first. Choi knocks it down and then tosses to Chacin. 1 out. And then there's the Alex Bregman situation. He's been playing left field the last few days for AAA Fresno and becoming more versatile. And Gurriel is also a pretty versatile player. So I think next year you could see a really different situation. But AJ is going to be challenged to use all these people, all these chess pieces for the rest of this year, it sounds like, Julia.
Yeah, and I think these players know it as well. So, pressure on everyone can make them play a little bit harder, play a little bit better, whatever it is. These guys are competitive and they don't want to lose those at-bats that I mentioned before. So, yeah, AJ Hinch is going to have some work to do when it comes to putting that lineup together, and matchups are going to be key in all of this. But the more versatile you can be, guys like Marwin Gonzalez, I mean, those type of players will find their way in somehow.
Ball 1 to Altuve. He's 0 for 3. And it's 2-0 to Jose. He has a 16-game hitting streak against the Angels.
One of the things I feel about the game and sports in general, sometimes playing harder can mean more weight, more pressure on your shoulders. Sometimes playing looser is the easier, more effective way to play, and you never know. I mean, for Marwin, is it better to go out and have fun with his buddies when everything is going well, or is it better when you feel like, man, I got to go out tonight and play well so I'm in the lineup tomorrow? It's always that challenge.
This guy's going to play.
Yes.
335 hitter, 250 homers. He's 32 years old. Two-time Olympic medal winner. He's been in 3 World Baseball Classics. He plays third. He can play some second. Outfield. That's a looping hit. Altuve takes his hitting streak to 8 games, and now it's a 17-game hitting streak for him against the Angels. So Alex Bregman, also very good shortstop, has played third base this year. He's played left field, and he has hit wherever he's been this year.
He's not going to be the shortstop. I know through the years, the year, a lot of people have wondered about that. What he has done, though, is swing the bat probably better than people even anticipated. And I think the anticipation was high. But when you do that, you're going to play somewhere. And I think that's the reason he's been playing at third and playing in left field. And we'll see. When it all washes out, he's going to play somewhere.
Strike to Correa. Correa's had a perfect night tonight. Single, walk, homer.
This guy just might be your shortstop for a few years to come.
Altuve got hit number 9 for the Astros. Softly hit to right field. Calhoun, 2 outs. And then there are possible trades that could be made between now and August 1st. So that situation could change.
I will guarantee you this: if Chris Sale or a large name has the Astros talking to their club about an acquisition, some of the big names on this club are going to be asked for on the other side, and that's where it gets really tough to make those deals.
Yes. Valbuena's 0 for 3. Strike. There have been some rumors that the Rangers and White Sox have been talking about a Chris Sale trade. And I would think, and the players we've seen tossed around are players like Rougned Odor. And I don't think the Rangers would trade Nomar Mazara.
It's those young guys that have already shown they can really play, and the young guys that are on the prospect list. Those are the guys that are sought in those big deals. Freddie Garcia and Guillen.
Carlos Guillen.
Guillen.
Yes.
I mean, that's what those clubs are looking for in those deals. They want that guy that's going to be a star for years to come.
I would find it inconceivable that the White Sox could trade Chris Sale without getting a stud starting pitcher in return.
And so if you're talking Astros, they would probably, likely, in my opinion, be asking for a Lance McCullers in a deal like that.
Yeah, and it's been pointed out in many of the articles written. Sure, those are the players' names who are tossed out here about a week before the trade deadline. Then things change a little bit. You get that final day of the deadline, and the names do change a little bit. Things get to be more negotiable, and deals are either made or they fall apart. But they're more difficult to make a week before sometimes than the day of the trade deadline. And I still find it hard to believe that the White Sox have determined that they're going to trade Chris Sale.
I think they're just allowing suitors to come and throw their offers and see what comes along.
Sure.
I said to somebody earlier tonight, if you're not intending to sell your house, but somebody walks up to the door and says, "I'll give you this Mount Midoriyama," whatever it may be out there.
Where is that? Ground ball hit in the right center field. Altuve heads for third. Valbuena has a single. And it's first and third and 2 outs for Preston Tucker. Mount Midoriyama. Okay. But I get your point.
You need to flip on some evening TV once in a while.
Yeah, you're right. You've been watching that History Channel an awful lot.
Yeah, that's not exactly close, but the DVR will suit you well someday.
Preston Tucker struck out looking. Before that, he walked and he was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. What about Jose Quintana, though? He's an excellent pitcher, the White Sox have.
Certainly is.
And a very, very cost-efficient pitcher.
Makes him all the more valuable.
Yeah.
And therefore, the request demand, if you will, on the other side is going to be even higher.
Yes. Well, there's a lot to be sorted out. This is purely a guess. We look at Quintana. We saw how well he pitched here against the Astros. He is a potential top of the line starting pitcher who just has not had run support for years.
Yeah, he's good. Chris Sale is the proven great left-hander out there right now, along with obviously Clayton Kershaw.
Line drive right field. Calhoun over for the running catch. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left after 7. 7-2 Houston.
Is presented by authority of Houston Astros, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Houston Astros, LLC.
7-2 ball game. The Astros lead the Angels. Houston trying for its 10th consecutive win against the Angels. And Ken Giles comes out for the 8th inning. Pat Neshek had a 1-2-3 7th with 2 strikeouts. Giles 1-3 with a 4.19 ERA. Ash.
And he's pitched quite a bit against the Angels this year. They've hit him a bit, 4.91 ERA. But he's been good lately. 10 games since June 21st, that June 20th date we talked about tonight. No earnings in that span.
Yunel Escobar with ball 1 high drops the bat. He's 2 for 3. Giles worked 2/3 of an inning Tuesday at Oakland. He came in with a couple of inherited runners on, and both of them scored. And they were charged to Dallas Keuchel. He had pitched shutout ball while he was in the game. 2 balls, no strikes. Pirates beat the Phillies 7-4. Juan Nicasio going to 8-6. He beat Aaron Nola, who's 5-9. Mark Melancon got his 29th save. Big year for Melancon. 2 balls, 1 strike. Calhoun and Trout to follow here in the 8th. Michael Feliz is warming up. Another high pitch. And Escobar dropped his bat again. He's standing there, hand on hips. He just looks really, really disturbed. And it's 3-1. As Feliz gets loose. In for a strike. His body language is not good. 3-2.
Something you can learn right there, that Ken Giles on the 3-1 turns to the slider.
Yes. Strike him out.
Right back to it. Houston Methodist brings us our league leaders. Take a look at this. This is something. Most times a starter going 8+ innings this year. The Giants lead. You see the Astros on the bottom of this list 4 times. But the percentages are just way down compared to, you were talking about the early 80s and all the complete games. The Indians are a team that is viewed as having great starting pitching, and yet just 13 times have they had a starter go 8+ innings.
Great job by McCullers last night. Calhoun is 1 for 3. Ball 1. In fact, somebody on Twitter is wondering about why would you trade McCullers for Chris Sale. I have to agree with you.
No, don't get us wrong. We're just saying that's what possibly would be part of the asking price.
Sure. That's what the White Sox would ask for. I would have to agree. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just letting you know that throwing a Chris Sale deal or some of these others we've talked about, throwing those together, it's not an easy scenario. You have to really consider long and hard the guys you have to give up.
A lot factors into it. One is that the free agent market is expected to be weak this winter. That may lead to more trades here in the next week or so. Anthony Lewis wants to know if we think Preston Tucker is here to stay, or is it just temporary? Not sure, Anthony. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I think he has a chance to maintain a spot here on this roster.
Well, that's up to his bat right now.
Yep. 3-2. You know, we could sit here until we're blue in the face and talk about all the possibilities, but he's here now. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. Don't know what kind of an injury there might be or a trade. So he's in a very favorable spot to try to perform and stay here.
Being a big part of a victory last night, that's a big plus.
Yeah, that triple he hit should go a long way for his confidence. There's a walk to Calhoun. That's the first walk by Astros pitching tonight. Mike Trout is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch. Astros pitchers are 4th in walks in the American League. And surprisingly, they are 2nd in strikeouts. Strike 1 to Trout.
Somebody asked, what would it take to get Carlos Gonzalez? And you know, the answer is we have no clue, but it would be a pricey deal.
Yeah, I think he's making $10 million next year on the final year of his deal, or has a $10 million option, something like that. Terrific player. 0-2, and apparently he's ready to leave Colorado if reports are accurate, after watching what happened with Troy Tulowitzki going to a playoff team last year in Toronto. Yankees lost to the Giants in 12, 2-1. The Yankees relievers were not quite as sturdy last night as they have been, but Brandon Crawford made 3 errors, and that cost the Giants the game. Now, the Yankees are an interesting study right now. With the loss tonight, they're 1 game over 500. Ash, are they buyers? Are they sellers? People are asking.
I don't know if the Yankees know right now.
They might not. Ivan Nova gave them a good start tonight.
I will say for the Yankees, they do not tend to become sellers, so I just don't see that happening.
Trout with his 2nd strikeout of the game after 3 punch-outs last night. Albert Pujols is 0 for 3, and that makes Albert 0 for 7 in this series. Pujols has only been thrown out of a game once since 2005, to speak to that earlier question we had. Runner takes off on a pitch in the dirt, and he will advance.
Evan Gattis did all a catcher can do right there. I'm impressed by what Evan Gattis has been able to do behind the plate. Watch this battle. That ball bounces well out in front of home plate, and he sizes it up, gets chest protector on it. Playing well.
On the wild pitch by Giles. Calhoun gets to second base, and the count's 1-0 on Pujols. It's 1-1. Rays 1, Athletics 1. They're in the top of the 3rd in Oakland. Drew Smiley against Kendall Graveman. Sonny Gray's another starter who might be available out there on the trade market, but he's not having a good year. Pujols swings, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, Rich Hill is the guy a lot of people have talked about, the left-hander who's had a really nice year, but he's 36 years of age, and so I think if you go after Rich Hill, it might be less costly than a lot of deals, but it's likely for just this season.
Right.
I think Sonny Gray would be a pretty good gamble for somebody to take.
Fastball struck him out. Giles strikes out 3 in the 8th inning, and the Astros lead it 7-2. They now have struck out 11 in this game.
Go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Show your support for our Cy Young winner by joining us this Monday in Keuchel's Corner, presented by Houston Methodist. You'll get a ticket, beard, and a Keuchel's Corner t-shirt. For more information, visit astros.com/Keuchel's Corner or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Monday against the Yankees. Dallas has pitched very well against that team. Carlos Gomez. Big strike one from Chacin. He's 0 for 3. Chacin came in the 5th inning after Weaver went the first 4, giving up 7 hits and 6 runs. The appeal went to first base. Check swing call goes the Astros way from Jerry Lane, and it's 1-1. Dodgers 7, Cardinals 2. They're in the top of the 8th in St. Louis. Kenta Maeda started for LA. High to left field. Gomez puts it way up in the air. Trout is there, and it's caught by the left fielder, Cunningham. The American League West, in terms of run differential, Texas dead even. So their expected record, based on scoring as many runs as their opponents, would be 500, 49-49. In fact, they're 13 over, Ash.
Isn't that amazing? And Seattle is the best at a +48, that run differential, and would therefore have the best record, but really something.
It is something. There's ball 1 to Evan Gattis.
Actually, you know, I'm looking at the +44 for the Astros. They would have a better record than Seattle. I'm not sure I'm understanding fully there, but Texas has their record up until a month ago been a fluke, or the last few weeks.
Well, Texas is 19-7 in one-run games.
That Seattle record there, or the numbers include today's game, and they had an offensive outburst. So the Astros actually would, with the final right now that we're seeing 7-2, they would actually advance a bit.
Yeah. 3-0 to Gattis, who's hit 2 homers tonight. He's driven in 4 runs. That's called a strike, and it's 3-1.
Get yourself one more.
Ball 4. First walk for Chacin. Jake Marisnick follows. Marisnick has a double in 3 trips. Well, hopefully Jason Castro will be ready to go tomorrow. He was scratched from the lineup. His right hand bothering him after being hit by a foul ball last night. That's strike 1. It's now Texas 7, Kansas City 1. They're in the top of the 8th. Ground ball, and that's scooped up by Escobar. Gets it to Giavotella, and safe at first. Really good play, though, to get Gattis at second.
Yeah, you get to talking about, can shortstops be good third basemen? Well, here's an example right here. Escobar has been a long-time shortstop and makes a gem of a play here from third. That speed of Marisnick.
Really close.
Yeah, it was close, wasn't it?
And maybe, were it not a 5-run margin, that play might be challenged. Two outs, and here's George Springer batting. He has 2 hits and a walk tonight. That's ball 1.
Mike Scioscia, in a recent series with the Astros, made an early inning challenge, and it proved to be a blunder in that game. And yet right here chooses not to go after that call.
The dirt ball 2. Would you give up prospects for a short-term rental like Aroldis Chapman?
Depends how you define prospects. High-end elite prospects or kind of that next tier. Aroldis Chapman, I think you really consider a deal right there.
$3-0 up and into Springer.
Chapman or Miller? Who's the more long-term effective guy?
Chapman's going to be a free agent after this season. That certainly enters in. Miller signed, he signed a 3-year deal with the Yankees prior to last year. Springer takes a walk, and George is on for the 4th time tonight. Well, in the press box, those are the souvenirs of the Chicago White Sox uniform tops. These are the ones they were going to wear with the shorts tonight. Is that correct?
It's a good thing they got them out of the clubhouse early.
Yeah.
Because they were not going to survive the sail cutter, apparently.
Edward Scissorhands will not be going to work.
And we haven't even talked about him and that possibility of a deal.
No, we have not, ever. Chacin trying to get out of this 8th inning here and prevent the Halos from going deeper into their bullpen. Rusnick at second. Springer at first. Marwin Gonzalez is 1 for 4. Fernando Salas is warming up now. Altuve on deck. 10 hits for the Astros tonight. There's ball 1 to Marwin. As Salas continues his work. Adrian Beltre hit his 14th homer. Nomar Mazara his 12th tonight for the Rangers. Cole Hamels went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 5 hits and 1 unearned run through 105 pitches to get through 5 1/3 innings. That one heads for the seats in foul territory, and there's been a lot of conjecture about the Rangers possibly trying to deal for Milwaukee catcher Jonathan Lucroy. But if they're going to deal for Lucroy with the package of prospects he would bring in return and a starting pitcher, they're going to be really busy.
I don't see how that would be possible.
No.
Lucroy's a valuable guy.
Yeah, that would seem to be too big an agenda to pull off.
The other guy the Brewers have had talked about is Ryan Braun.
2-1, yeah.
Of course, and again, all conjecture. We don't know what the Brewers are willing to give up, but like any other team, certain they're willing to listen.
Well, let's call David Stearns after the game.
You've got his number.
I do.
Last year, you telling me you didn't get David's number?
We always saw him in person. Foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Nice young man, isn't he?
Yes. Very bright. He will do well, and he has done well.
And if you're going to be a GM, you're going to listen. You have to listen earnestly.
Yeah, you know, they're all in network with each other, knowing what each team wants from them. That's a strikeout to end the 8th inning. And we go to the 9th with the Astros up 7-2. Presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Lexus, the new 2016 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid. It's next level luxury. The Astros have had a hold on the Angels. They are 9-1 against the Halos and trying to make this their 10th consecutive win against Los Angeles, leading at 7-2. We go to the 9th inning. And here is Michael Feliz, pitcher number 4 for the Astros, Ash.
And I know A.J. Hinch and company would love to see Michael Feliz go out there tonight and throw the way they know he can throw. Recent outings have been a little on the rocky side for Michael Feliz. Stuff is still there. Kind of got talked into by Brent Strom with a meeting on the mound in his most recent outing, bringing that fastball once again, and he jumped it up to 97 right away.
Well, he has had rough times lately. He got an out in that Oakland game on Monday night, coming in with 2 men on. But he walked 3. Here's Andrelton Simmons with strike 1. Simmons has 2 hits tonight.
There you go, right at 97 to start things.
Feliz with 57 strikeouts before the All-Star break. That was the most by an Astros reliever since Brad Lidge struck out 58 at the All-Star break in 06. 1-1. Choi is on deck. Giovatella up third. George Springer back in right field. Takes it in for out number 1.
Yeah, there have been times that Michael Feliz has looked like the next big deal.
Choi homered in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3. Ken Giles in 1 inning allowed no hits, no runs, had 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. 7-10-0 for Houston, 2-6-0 for Los Angeles. 7 men left for Houston, 5 for Los Angeles. That's ball 1. Orioles are shutting out the Indians 5-0 at the end of 8 in Baltimore. Kevin Gossman with the first 7. In for a strike. 1-1. That one slicing out of play for Jake Marisnick. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Boston's leading 8-5 over Minnesota, top of the 7th at Fenway. Boston is currently leading the wild card race with Toronto in 2nd, but if the Astros win this game, they will be 9 games over 500 for the first time this year, 53-44. Toronto is 54-44. That would put the Astros 1/2 game behind the 2nd wild card spot. 2-2, and if they win and the Rangers win, and the Rangers are up 3-1 after 6 in Kansas City, it will still be a 2.5 game lead for Texas over Houston. And knowing how the wild card playoff works, the 2 wild card teams play a 1-game playoff against each other. It is infinitely better to be a division champion. Much better chance to advance. I don't even know if the players have a feel for this wild card thing this early, Ash. I don't think they're into it.
Well, I would say they haven't even considered it at this point.
Right. Struck him out.
But I mean, you take last year, for example, it's that 50-50 roll of the dice. The Astros went into New York. I don't know when you have to go play at the other team's field like New York that it's 50-50, but win or lose, and the Astros were able to win the big game.
Yeah.
And then you step in as if you were a division winner, although you play as the visiting team at that point.
Yeah. That's the 12th strikeout for Astros pitching tonight. Giovatella is 0 for 3. It's not that consequential. 4 players this early. High bouncer goes foul. They still, of course, want to win that division, and they've cut off so many games from Texas' lead over them. That's the focus.
That's what gets talked about in the clubhouse is let the wild card stuff settle itself. You go out and win every night, and let's see if we can win this division.
It's been great for the fans, though.
Yeah, wild card is for those of us who sit around and talk about games.
It gives us a lot to talk about.
It certainly does.
Consider the possibilities, and there are many. So much more fun than having only division winners.
It has been great.
Foul back, and you know, a lot of us are a little more on the traditionalist side and do not like to have the playoffs watered down. They're certainly watered down in the NHL and NBA, but still, it means something to reach the playoffs in baseball.
There's a slogan.
1-2. Fans have loved the show tonight. And it ends with a strikeout from Phillies. He adds 2 punch-outs. So that's 13 for the Astros pitching staff in this game. What a night for Evan Gattis. Evan Gattis gnome night. A 2-home run game for the starting catcher, who was not in the original lineup as the starting catcher. And the Astros have beaten the Angels for the 10th straight time. Final score, Houston 7, Los Angeles 2.